Welcome back, everybody. It is I, the Silver Watchman, here to bring you another episode of Dead Cells. So, in the previous episode of Dead Cells, I read through chapters 9 through 16, if my notes are right. In this episode, I am going to be reading chapters 16 and 17 of Psalms. And if I have time, 17 and 18. Forgive that. And if I have time, chapter 19 as well, but I don't think I'll have the time. So, this is the King James Version of the Bible, so keep that in mind. And I do hope that you guys have had a good week from the last episode, or a good indescript amount of time. So, without further ado, let us begin. Psalm chapter 17, King James Version of the Bible. A prayer of David. Hear the right, O Lord. Attend unto my cry. Give ear unto my prayer that goeth out of feigned lips. Let my sentence come forth from thy presence. Let thine eyes behold the things that are equal. Thou hast proved mine heart. Thou hast visited me in the night. Thou hast tried me, and shalt find nothing. I am purpose that my mouth shall not transgress concerning the words of men. By the word of thy lips I have kept me from the paths of the destroyer. Hold up my goings in thy paths, that my footsteps slip not. I have called upon thee, for thou wilt hear me, O God. Incline thine ear unto me, and hear my speech. Shew thy marvelous loving kindness. O thou that savest by thy right hand them which put their trust in thee from those that rise up against them. Keep me as the apple of the eye. Hide me under the shadow of thy wings, from the wicked that oppress me, from my deadly enemies who compass me about. They are enclosed in their own fat. With their mouth they speak proudly. They have now compassed us in our steps. They have set their eyes bowing down to the earth. Like as a lion that is greedy of his prey, as it were a young lion lurking in secret places, arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down. Deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. From men which are thy hand, O Lord, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure. They are full of children, and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. As for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness. I shall be satisfied when I awake with thy likeness. Psalm chapter 18. To the chief musician, a psalm of David, the servant of the Lord. who spake unto the Lord the words of this song in the day that the Lord delivered him from the hand of all his enemies, and from the hand of Saul. And he said, I will love thee, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress, and my deliverer, my God, my strength in whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn of my salvation, and my high tower. I will call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised. I shall be saved from mine enemies. The sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. The sorrows of hell compassed me about, the snares of death prevented me. In my distress I called upon the Lord, and I cried unto my God. He heard my voice out of his temple, and my cry came before him, even into his ears. Then the Lord shook and trembled. The foundations also of the hills moved and were shaken, because he was wroth. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and a fire out of his mouth, devoured. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also, and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub, and did fly. He did fly upon the wings of the wind. He made darkness his secret place. His pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the sky. At the brightness that was before him, his thick clouds passed, hailstones and coals of fire. The Lord also thundered in the heavens, and the highest gave his voice, hailstones and coals of fire. He sent out his arrows and scattered them. He shot out lightnings and discomfited them. Then the channels of water were seen, and the foundations of the world were discovered at thy rebuke, O Lord, at the blast of the breath of thy nostrils. He sent from above. He took me and drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy, and from them which hated me, for they were too strong for me. They prevented me in the day of my calamity, but the Lord was my stay. He brought me forth also into a large place. He delivered me, because he delighted in me. The Lord rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanliness of my hands hath he recompensed me. For I have kept the ways of the Lord, and have not wickedly departed from God. For all his judgments were before me. I did not put away his statutes from me. I was also upright before him, and I kept myself from mine iniquity. Therefore hath the Lord recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanliness of my hands in his eyesight. With the merciful thou wilt shew thyself merciful, and with an upright man thou wilt shew thyself upright, and with the pure thou wilt shew thyself pure, and with the froward thou wilt shew thyself froward. For thou wilt save the afflicted people, but will bring down high looks. For thou wilt light my candle. The Lord my God will enlighten my darkness. For by thee I have run through a troop, and by my God I have leaped over a wall. As for God, his way is perfect. The word of the Lord is tried. He is a buckler to all those that trust in him. For who is God, save the Lord? Who is a rock, save our God? It is God that girdeth me with strength, and maketh my way perfect. He maketh my feet like hinds' feet, and settled me upon my high places. He teacheth my hands to war, so that a bow of steel is broken by mine arms. Thou hast also given me the shield of thy salvation, and thy right hand holdeth me up. And thy gentleness hath made me great. Thou hast enlarged my steps under me, that my feet did not slip. I have pursued mine enemies and overtaken them, neither did I turn again till they were consumed. I have wounded them, that they were not able to rise, they are fallen under my feet. For thou hast girded me with strength unto battle. Thou hast subdued me under those that rose up against me. Thou hast also given me the necks of mine enemies, that I might destroy them that hate me. They cried, but there was none to save them, even unto the Lord. But he answered them not. Then did I beat them, small as the dust before the wind. I did cast them out as the dirt in the streets. Thou hast delivered me from the strivings of the people, and thou hast made me the head of the heathen. A people whom I have not known shall serve me, and soon as they hear of me, they shall obey me. The strangers shall submit themselves unto me, and the strangers shall fade away and be afraid of their close places. The Lord liveth, and blessed be my rock, and let the God of my salvation be exalted. It is God that avengeth me, and subdueth the people under me. He delivereth me from mine enemies. Yea, thou liftest me up above those that rise up against me. Thou hast delivered me from the violent man. Therefore I will give thanks unto thee, O Lord, among the heathen, and sing praises unto thy name. Great deliverance giveth he to his king, and sheweth mercy to his anointed, to David, and to his seed forevermore. Okay. I do not have time for another one. Okay, so it's just 17 and 18 this episode. I will be back after praying to the Lord and seeking wisdom from the Spirit. And when I come back, we are going to break down this word effectively. I shall return. And I am back. So, starting off with Psalm 17. It is, as it is described in the very first line, a prayer. So in this prayer, we see in the very first verse a cry out to be heard. The words being, "Hear the right, O Lord. Attend unto my cry. Give ear unto my prayer that goeth not out of feigned lips." Now, what does feigned mean? Simulated, pretended, or insincere. So, not out of insincere lips. By the third verse, we see another part of the prayer, an acknowledgement. Of all the struggle that he's been through. That God was there, even in the hardest moments. Thankfulness is able to be seen from verses 4 and 5. 6 and 7 is part of the request. Not for anything selfish, but once again to be heard, to be seen, to be valued by God. From verses 9 through 15 is a request for protection. As well as an acknowledgement of faith that God will do it. Now this also follows the same pattern of the Lord's Prayer. If we take a closer look at it, an acknowledgement of God and His authority, gratitude, and a request to be kept from evil, to be protected. So now, we're going to break down Psalm 18, as it has 50 verses. This is a song of gratitude. Keep in mind the context of it is said at the very beginning of the chapter. A psalm of David, the servant of the Lord, who spake unto the Lord the words of this song in the day that the Lord delivered him from the hand of all his enemies and from the hand of Saul. Oh. In the first couple of verses, we can see how hopeless David felt about getting out of the situation alive, of being pursued so aggressively. Verse 5 is interesting to look at, though. The sorrows of hell compassed me about. The snares of death prevented me. Another word that could be placed in there is cords. Verse 6, the admittance of, in his darkest moment, he called out to God. Verse 7, we see the answering. Then the earth shook and trembled, the foundations also of the hills moved and were shaken, because he is wroth. Now, what this is illustrating is something very simple. God's always going to show up for his children. You serve him, you come to him. Even if you were a disobedient child, you were still one of his kids. I love the imagery that we see in verse 8. Essentially, starting at verse 8. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and a fire out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. Now, this is either imagery or very literal. But based on the context of the Bible, Moses, at least in the Old Testament, should have been the last person to directly see God. And even then, he saw a fleeting glimpse of it. So this is most likely imagery. Something David perceived. That the wrath of God would be. Verse 10, and he rode upon a cherub. So, what is a cherub? Is it, at least in the Renaissance era, people often viewed cherubs as these beings that are essentially flying babies. I don't know where they got that. Because, according to the Bible, I have never once seen or read of a cherub being described as a innocent little infant. No, they're terrifying, often with forms that can be described as looking like the chimera, if you guys know of Greek literature. All they do is spend their time praising the Lord. And then there's ones that are holding up the throne. Overall, these beings are immensely powerful. And I guess they're not as terrifying looking as the chariots, which are essentially multiple wheels with eyes on every corner that spin in multiple directions with wings, 6 wings on each portion of it, which is just a giant mass of wings and eyes and crowns. Yeah, those ones are scary. They're scary to look at. I've never encountered one. I've encountered the librarian, though. That one was terrifying. Yeah, that one was terrifying. Back to the cherubs, though. So, cherubs... let's see. Often having, if memory serves correctly, 3 heads a pop. And what they'll either have is the face of a lion, the face of an ox, face of an eagle, or face of a man. If I remember correctly as well, the body of a lion. So the idea that cherubs are these flying babies is inaccurate. The closest thing that we have in human literature that would actually look like them or similar, like I said, would be the chimera. And even that falls short. Because a chimera is a different thing entirely, but it's similar in looks to give you guys kind of an image of how these things would look. As far as how big they are, I have no memory of them being described, of their size being described, but let's see if they're throne bearers. They've got to be pretty big. Maybe the size of a bus. But that's besides the point. It says that he's riding in a chair, meaning that this thing is flying in. Keep in mind, they have 4 wings a pop. So in verse 17, it says this: He delivered me from my strong enemy, and from them which hated me, for they were too strong for me. An acknowledgement that sometimes, or a lot of the time, when your enemies come for you, they're not going to come in a small force. They're pretty much going to come in a full force to try to take you out, especially when you serve God or you're on one of his missions. let's see. Going on at verse 30 is another acknowledgement saying that God is perfect, that is true. And I love the imagery here from verse 31 to 34. Who is God save the Lord? Essentially saying, who else can be called God but the Lord? And who is a rock save our God? Essentially saying, He is our foundation. He's the only being that can be the foundation of our life, unchanging, unyielding. Unwavering. A fantastic way to be. I've run out of time for this episode, and for what I have broken down for. Take some time to understand that. If you guys have more to break down yourselves, feel free to do so. So, I'd like to thank you all for watching. Glory be to God. Blessings be upon every single one of you, and this is the Silver Watchman signing out. Have a good rest of your day, everybody, and please be safe out there.